Welcome back to another episode of Marvel Studies, where we're tackling a wonderful film called Captain America: Civil War. Hey, Alex, how you doing?
I am okay, sir. You okay?
I'm doing okay.
Doing okay? You sound okay. You okay?
You got a little bit of flu, you know.
Oh man.
I just need some super soldier serum and I'll be fine.
You figure we get out of this Winter Soldier nonsense, and we have to deal with the flu now.
Well, my body is having a civil war against itself. So.
I think we're getting to something here.
Well, this is a great movie. I'm excited to talk about it.
As am I.
As I clear my throat.
Yes, movie number 13, The Baker's Dozen, Captain America: Civil War, released May 6th, 2016.
2016, yeah.
Yes.
Doesn't seem that long ago.
I know. I was just about to say, I'm like, what? Wasn't that yesterday? Gosh. But yes.
And this film, once it came out, I think by like September, it was on Netflix already.
Oh my gosh, it was the strangest thing. I think it still is. Thank goodness.
It still is. I was just watching it before we got on.
Netflix.
I watched the first 40 minutes. So I've seen this movie quite often. Mm-hmm. Because it's been on Netflix since basically when it got dropped in the theaters. So let's talk about summary, then go into things that we like.
I agree. Please.
So we start in 1991, where Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, is set on a mission to kill Tony Stark's daddy and
Boo.
mommy. And this follows directly on from Winter Soldier. So a lot of people complain that this is a Avengers movie and not a Cap movie, but it's really its premise comes from the Captain America franchise.
Yes.
So then we have Captain America and the new Avengers, Wanda and who else?
Scarlet
Witch and Falcon.
Yep.
Are tracking down Rumlow, who's the guy that got his face kind of blown off in Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And have this big battle, awesome kind of 007 action piece in there. Which results in a giant explosion that takes out half a building, and the repercussions are now the UN wants to police or control the Avengers.
Boo.
Tony Stark is at MIT giving a little speech, and he gives grants to all the kiddos, goes behind stage.
Because he has nothing better to do with his time and money.
Well, he meets this woman, and she says there's usually a correlation between generosity and guilt. And she hits it right on the head. Tony is guilty for everything he's done in his fight for goodness. His fight for goodness. That sounds so corny. But eventually she reveals that, her son died in Sokovia when they were there fighting Ultron. She blames Tony, and the Avengers asks who's going to avenge him. So Tony is like leading the charge to get the Avengers under UN control. And that's the heart of the conflict in the film. Captain America is about freedom and liberty and not having big government take over private matters. And it's interesting, this debate, because we've been having this in our society all along. And now this comes through our superhero films. Again, that's why it's important to watch these things.
Yes.
To see what our society is wrestling with.
Yes.
In the end, there is a guy named Zemo. And he lived in Sokovia, and his kids and family were killed in that attack, and he wants revenge too. And so he knows that he cannot hurt the Avengers physically. No one can beat them because they're united. But what if we divide them? And he uses the secret that Bucky killed Tony Stark's mom and dad to divide Cap and Iron Man, and ultimately to destroy the Avengers. It didn't quite work. They're still all standing in the end, but they are fractured. Captain America.
To say the least.
Who else? Ant-Man, Falcon.
Are we trying to... You're trying to remember who's on which team?
Yes. Help me out there. My flu brain's got me.
No. That's okay. Gosh. That's certainly... I'm trying to think about it, because all I saw was superheroes fighting superheroes. I'm trying to remember who was on Team Captain and who was on Team Iron Man. It's gonna... Ooh, okay. But regardless, It's probably one of the coolest and most enjoyable action sequences in the
Absolutely.
history of all of movie history, life history, however you wanted to break it down. I think
Okay,
Team Iron Man.
I got
Yeah,
the teams.
go ahead.
All right, so Iron Man is Black Widow, Vision,
Hmm.
and Rhodey,
War Machine, right?
and
Yeah.
then Spider Man. And then
Hmm.
Cap's team is Wanda, Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye,
Okay.
and Winter Soldier, Falcon, and then Ant Man as well.
Okay.
So, and then Black Panther is kind of a neutral party, but he
Ah,
wants to get Captain America because Captain is protecting the Winter Soldier.
I don't
Dun
know.
dun da. You don't
I,
know? Tell me.
I'm feeling like Black Panther's on the side of Iron Man, cause yeah, cause he wants to, cause he's trying to fight Bucky for some reason.
Yes, because Bucky killed his father. Or that's what he thinks.
Right. So that's why you've naturally got Black Panther siding with Iron Man. Yeah, at that point in the story, Black Panther is trying to kill Bucky because he believes Bucky is the cause of T'Challa's um, death at the United Nations Accord meetings and such. I think you're leaving out Agent 13, aka Sharon Carter. Uh,
Yes, because Peggy Carter dies in the middle of the film,
hmm
and Agent 13 gives a speech. She's Peggy Carter's niece, and
Yeah.
basically she tells Steve Rogers during her eulogy to stand firm when you cannot compromise. And even if the whole world says no, you move, you plant yourself like a tree and tell the world, no, you move. And that kind of inspires him to stand against these
Mm,
accords and really
right.
build a team to fight against Tony Stark. In the end, Cap's team loses and gets arrested. He breaks him out of jail eventually, and they all end up in Wakanda.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say a shawarma
Because
restaurant. No, okay,
no,
yeah,
not this time. They probably have better food in Wakanda
that's
anyway.
probably true.
But Bucky is choosing to go back in the ice because he can't trust his own mind. And
Hmm.
presumably, we will catch back up with him in Wakanda later if you've seen
Maybe,
the Black Panther
maybe,
credit scenes.
maybe, maybe. Welcome back, Spider-Man. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Oh, that starts us with something we like. So why don't we go into that?
They've got so many wonderful introductions, and I think two of them really come to mind as to a domino effect for us in the next few months and years of more Marvel films, and that is Black Panther and Spider-Man coming back into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Black Panther, we really hadn't any idea of to this point. But then you see the claws come out, and you're like, okay, I want more of this. Please give me more. And I believe we get that delivered upon this year with the release of the film Black Panther. But that's a whole nother episode. We will discuss that.
I can't wait.
Spider Man, welcome back. And you're awesome. And you're actually a kid. And thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Tobey Maguire was not a kid when he took the role of Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield was a British kid when he took the role of Spider-Man. Now, truthfully, I get it. Tom Holland is still British, but he looks like a kid. And that's kind of the idea. Spider-Man, Peter Parker, was a teenage phenom when he got bit by the radioactive spider and became the Spider-Man that does whatever a spider can.
And that's what makes him unique in this compilation of other heroes. They're all adults except him. And so he's facing in that giant set piece where all the heroes are fighting at the airport. He's in wonder, in awe at just
Oh my
participating
gosh,
in
this is
these
so cool.
events.
Ah.
Yeah, and you know what? So are we, the audience. So
Yes.
Spider-Man has always served as the perspective of the reader, the kids that are reading the superhero movies,
Indeed.
or the big kids
Indeed.
that are watching them now.
Yes. Ant-Man gets to come back and have a cameo. Good to
In a
see
big
Scott
way.
Lang in a big way. Ha. Ah.
The flu hasn't destroyed my pun generator.
No, that's a shame. The I liked the tension between Hawkeye and Black Widow since they were on opposing sides of the Iron Man Captain America battle. But there's kind of obvious choices of War Machine and Vision kind of sit being on the side of Tony Stark because without Tony Stark, they really could not exist.
Mm-hmm.
Falcon and Bucky, and kind of well, Sharon Carter also to an extension, then airing with Captain. I mean, there's obvious alliances that kind of emerge from this. But to see the clash between Hawkeye and Black Widow, that they're just longtime friends. He named his daughter after Romanov.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just really intriguing. It's one of my favorite things to see that. I'm like, oh gosh, what if, would they actually kill one another?
Well, at this point, we're in film 13.
Yes.
All of these characters mean a lot to each other. Their
Yes.
relationships are well established. I'm thinking back to the scene between Cap and Black Widow in the church after the funeral. And even though Black Widow knows Captain America will not sign the Accords, he's like, "Why are you here?" And she's like, "Because I didn't want you to be alone." And she hugs him in that moment, after he's lost the last person that's alive since he, went under the ice. You really see the connections here. And I think that makes this really, the pathos of the film is really strong. So that fight between Nat and Hawkeye, the connection between Nat and Captain America, really, really strong. And, man, if only the DC universe would do some kind of relationship building between the characters. I think that's probably one of the weakest things about that.
Oh, I'm okay with like the lack of it because I feel like it'd be like, all right, I didn't sign up for this. I signed up for Ant-Man grabbing a falcon out of the sky and all those sorts of cool things to happen. I just want my popcorn shoved in my face as I watch everything and engorge in everything that I'm enjoying.
But you get both. You get character studies that have drama between them and tension, real drama and tension, but also amazing choreography, great fights. Man, just like we've talked about in the other Avengers films, the mixing of the power sets is so much fun.
Yes. Oh
So
my
much fun.
gosh. It's like everything you could have ever dreamed of from a Marvel versus Capcom video game without the Capcom. It's wonderful.
Exactly. Shall we move into the final fight in the bunker where there's these dead super soldiers there?
Ugh.
When Tony is shown the video recording of Bucky killing his parents, that's when the real Civil War begins. And we get that famous line, he's my friend. And Tony says, I thought I was too, Ever since I saw that in the trailers, we're like, oh no!
Drop the mic.
Yeah, I remember my mom said, that was a good movie, but I hated seeing them fight each other. It was so sad. And it is. Something is breaking in all of us when we see them fighting each other, legitimately. And
Right.
I think that couldn't happen without these 12 films prior to set up that emotional
Correct.
resonance. So, yeah. Any particular moment stand out to you that you really want to highlight?
Again, we are all Spider-Man sitting on the side just looking at this. Holy crap, this is so cool. And
Yeah,
we're there
yeah.
just kind of watching that. I think we have that combined excitement with Tom Holland that not only is he a part of this as an actor and a person, but I feel like that's kind of like a not quite the Freudian slip, but that moment of reality of, okay, I am here. This is phase 3. With this is getting really, really good, and it starts this wonderful chain reaction of films that mix not just a interesting and thought-provoking mindset behind them in terms of who, like you mentioned, a lot of those pathoses and questions of society and such. But again, they up the action to another level. Oh, just so wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, they have such a rich cast. By the time we get to Infinity War, I think Kevin Feige has said there's like 44 distinct characters involved. You know, and imagine how the powers are going to interact there. That's going to be fun.
I know.
But I hope with that film there's still this rich pathos, this emotional drama between the characters, because that's what makes it living and relatable and worthwhile, and not just Transformers, things smashing each other. So, do you want to shelf this beast?
It's man, having to shelf this. This is one of those things that now I feel like we're getting into these movies, and you're asked as a parent, who's your favorite child, and you're like, they're all my favorite. You're not supposed to pick a favorite.
Well, actually, question.
Okay.
Do you side with Captain America's position about the Sokovia Accords or Tony's?
Yes.
Both?
I do not have a definitive answer as to whether I take one side or the other. I just know that there will never be one right answer to a solution. There has to be an agreement of all sides to make it best. I feel like I'm always on the side of collaboration and not necessarily conceding or what's the word I'm thinking of, where it's not quite
compromise.
Yes, that dirty little word, compromise. I'm on the side of collaboration more than compromisation. If that makes sense. So, yeah.
I'm Team Cap.
That's fine.
Even Tony Stark breaks the Sokovia Accords in the end to go find Captain America and take him down. So, I don't know. You could cut off the feet of the Avengers by putting it in the power-up bureaucrats. You know what I mean? Indeed. And it's just like a national policy that's guiding, education practices in my classroom from Washington. They don't know my students.
No,
so
that's
this is that big government, small government thing, and
yes.
I find it interesting. All right, you want to have?
I haven't put it on a shelf yet. Yeah. With all that being said, I would shelf this, and I know we still have 6 more movies to talk about.
Yeah.
But this for me cannot avoid the top shelf. I think with just the whole aspect of bringing all of these heroes together and this conflict of what is right and who is right, we as the cinematic viewers are the victors. Neither side is truly a victor over the other, but we as the moving-going public
this is very true.
Are the winners. So I would top shelf this as a film goer, and then we can continue to debate for the end of time who truly wins in the long run when we're looking at Team Cap versus Team Iron Man in this realm.
Well, and we might not find out until Infinity War.
Yes.
Well, I am in agreement with you. Top shelf all the way.
Yay! We have found a top shelf film together.
When this film came out, many complained that it was overstuffed like Iron Man 2. And I just don't find that to be the case. I think the editing is supreme. There's a lot of downtime, and then there's lots of action too. But it's all focused around Captain America through his lens, and Tony Stark. To a lesser
but mostly
degree.
Captain, yeah.
But mostly Cap, yeah. The Cap films are becoming like a Jason Bourne film or 007, where they're action thrillers with political kind of espionage overtones. And of course, then you have the pockets of superhero action. But I think the Russo brothers really bring that tone, and it grounds the film in reality. And man, top shelf.
Yes.
The last thing I have to say about the film
Shawarma
is Zemo. Zemo.
Oh, Zemo.
He is the bad guy, and I really love. Marvel didn't try to make another huge villain.
Yes.
They went small this time. They used psychology as that guy's defense or his attack on the Avengers, which is really smart and risky. he's kind of a forgettable bad guy, but that's the point. It wasn't about him. It was
Nope.
about what he was doing to the team.
Yes.
So love it. Love it.
Side note, and I know we have not discussed this, and by the time this video has released, this will not exactly be breaking news. But I guess can for like half a second we talk about the 10th anniversary photo shoot that Marvel Studios did. Have you heard about this?
Yes, I saw
Oh
that.
my gosh, it's so cool. Go Google it. Marvel Studios 10th anniversary. It is literally anyone who has been in their movies over the last decade. It is fantastic. And like even the stars when they kind of saw it coming together, they're like it's like literally Hemsworth said it's like an Academy Awards. So much fanboying going on in the room. Like every person has been in all or one of my favorite films ever.
Yeah.
Iron Man, who Robert Downey Jr. sits in front next to Kevin Feige. It's like I am literally dead center in the photo. I'm looking around, going, any one of these people could be dead center. I mean, you've got Stan Lee, who's sitting behind him. You've got Michael Douglas, who is even beyond him. It's just so many amazing actors and actresses compiled together. Just
They've
awesome.
entered an interesting family, right? Of
Very much
actors.
so. A fraternity of
So,
sorts.
Yeah, so that was really fun. I suggest everyone go find that YouTube video and the picture itself.
Yes,
'Cause
indeed.
it's all these people that have participated in this franchise that is really a risk and an experiment to this day.
Oh, yeah.
This one story told over a decade.
Yep.
Wow.
It's amazing. So we have found our top shelves, and we have found ourselves finding at a close to this episode of our Marvel studies here on the Completing the Shelf channel. As always, please provide your feedback in the comments section below. Share, like, favorite, whatever you may need to do to provide that positive vibes on this particular episode of Marvel Studies, episode 13.
And to be honest,
oh yeah,
the more you like and subscribe, the more YouTube puts our stuff out there. So liking it isn't really about us, but it's about getting this Marvel stuff out there
Yes.
for more people to hear and enjoy as we all move along the road to Infinity War.
Indeed. Please tweet at him at Shelf Nerds. Tweet at me at Alex_Salvo. But we will see you on the road to the Infinity War.